All right. Hey, everybody. Chuck Karstens in here. I had to remember for a second how to start these live broadcasts. So you might be saying, what's going on? You just did a real estate show yesterday. Michelle and I were on. We had Michelle Brandt on. This is a different show. Basically, I've had this idea for a few weeks of in November at some point, and we are in November. Beautiful day in Minnesota in November. Very, very nice outside. Could go outside. Lucas, we got outside shooting basketball, my 8-year-old. And he didn't want to wear, he had shorts and a t-shirt. And he's like, Dad, it's so hot. So I don't know that it was so hot, but very hot for Minnesota in November. So if anybody's watching this one live, this was unreally announced until about 15 minutes ago. I posted it online, which means if you're watching this live, I'm going to have to do some of my own self-production. I'm doing it on my StreamYard account because then it can carry over to my Real Life Impact podcast page, obviously this page. And then I can more easily put it into my podcast, the Real Life Impact Show. And with everything going on in the world and over the course of my life of doing videos, if you're somebody who knows me, follows me, whether you watch this real estate page or my personal page, you notice every once in a while I'll do a video with a tip or encouragement. And I thought when I had this idea in November, for November, I should start a video series about some sort of hope, encouragement, some way of helping uplift people. I know, when I had this idea, the election, it was pre-election and a lot of intensity based on that. And I think there's still some of that going on. I really don't follow it that close. And obviously COVID-19 is carrying on. There's more people obviously getting it. In Minnesota, we went to more restrictions yesterday. So certain places like gyms and restaurants especially are restricted it as of Friday night at midnight. Sports are on hold for a while. The kids can play tonight. For example, we do have a football game tonight. That means it's our last football game. And so this would be a different thing than the giveaway. This is a different broadcast. It'd be on our Laureata comment. So you must have at least saw it yesterday. So on our real estate show, the What's Happening in Minnesota real estate show, that'll be when we'll give a giveaway. This is simply a hope and encouragement video. And then, like I said, it'll go to my podcast. So thanks for watching, tuning in, and basically like I explaining, I know 2020 has not been a fun year for a lot of people, whether it's, like I said, the election or COVID carrying on and now these restrictions and maybe people in quarantine because they either have COVID or were close contact with somebody with COVID. It's one of those times where I know it's maybe not going to be the holiday season like we normally see. Like you're not maybe supposed to get together with your family coming up. And those kind of things. So I have one of these things that has been on my heart for a while is to spread more hope and encouragement. Now, in my life, am I perfect at hope and encouragement with everybody? Not really. It's something I needed to get better at. I feel lately I've had mostly good progress in being encouraging. For example, anybody out there doing, and you can comment, I'm getting a couple comments on a couple of my streams. I can't watch all my streams because I'm only one guy and this is going on 4 streams right now. So I can probably only watch 2 of them. So I might miss your comments, but you're welcome to comment. I can catch a couple of the streams comments. So I'm doing distance learning. We did distance learning with the kids back in the spring. And in the spring, I didn't have like a super great attitude about it. I'm like, this sucks. I need to be working. This is no fun. Like, why do I have to do this? Like I had a poor attitude. Anybody get what I'm saying? There's some area in your life where you have probably not as great as an attitude as you could have. So for example, this time around, I decided it was a decision, a choice to take a different attitude with distance learning. So an example of hope and encouragement, when my son is flaring and doesn't want to do it, or I don't want to, he's arguing or wants to do it later, instead of getting annoyed or upset, which over the years of, helping my kids, I'm sure I've, if you're a parent, you probably know how it goes sometimes, not always been super patient. I'm just like, hey, you're doing great at this. He'll get one wrong or 2 wrong, and he'll say something like, I'm dumb. I'm like, no, you're doing great. You're getting better. Each one, you're getting better. The more we do it, the better you get. So using basically the material. Like I'm somebody who studied personal development, spiritual development, did the things. It's obviously helped me improve my life, my business, things like that over the years, but also implementing and making the material that you learn part of you. Well, I'm like, I got to do this on distance learning. So when I'm helping my son with distance learning, it is, I would want to say 99%, 98, 97, 95% positive. He's playing we'll take breaks to play basketball, meaning dribble the basketball, work on some skills, and he'll dribble off and say, "Oh, I'm not good at this." And he'll get upset about it. I'm like, "No, you're doing great. Each rep, you're getting better. We keep doing this, you're going to get better and better." And that's how it goes. So here's the deal. Why I'm previewing this and doing this and sharing this with you now is a lot of the situations going on in the world. So this will be, let's say, a 10 to 15 minute broadcast. So not as long as our real estate show, which normally goes 45 minutes to 60 minutes, but also not as short as our little live videos that we'll do every once in a while with, say, a real estate tip on the real estate page. And this is on my real estate page, my personal page, my Real Life Impact podcast page. And if you're like, well, I don't have time to listen at all, but I'd be kind of interested in listening to what you have to say, you can check out the recording probably in an hour or so on the podcast page, which I flashed below, Real Life Impact. It's on Apple Podcasts, not all the podcast places, but other ones. And we'll get to the content, the gist of the content in a moment. I was previewing the content. It's basically, there's always something that's most often pulling us back, distracting us. And in 2020, there's a lot of things. Like I said, COVID, election, could be distance learning. And a lot of times we can choose our attitude, we can choose our response. And are we choosing a wise response? Are we choosing to fight with people online, correct people online? Maybe you're saying, Chuck, you're correcting us now. I want to have a bad attitude. You can have whatever attitude I want or you want. But what I want to get at is there is a choice in this. Like you can choose a much better attitude, how you react and respond to things. And I was giving that example of distance learning in the spring to distance learning now, and it's going much better. We're getting through the work. He's doing well. There's not a lot of stress involved. We do take a lot of breaks. He wants to play in between like every class that we do, but it's fun. We get to play together more. So there are a lot of blessings that come out of especially the COVID quarantine situation. So one of the things that and when I put Hope and Encouragement episode 1, that means I want to do this more often than just one time. I don't know if that's going to be 10 times, 5 times, 17 times, or whatever. It'll be a little series, a little blip that you'll see on our pages for Hope and Encouragement. And typically, there's several ways I might do this in the future. I might read to you, which I plan to read to you, one of my devotional posts and explain that situation. So from COVID, like I said, a couple for sure blessings have came. So really the message today is what blessings for you has came from COVID. Not everything that has gone wrong, which might be hundreds of things or dozens of things or 3 things. What minor blessings, major blessings have came. As I explained, blessing number 1, I'd say more time, especially with my 8-year-old Lucas. We're playing more, like I said, playing in between every subject at school. And we hadn't done that before. And that's been a huge blessing to be able to be home with him and put that extra time into him. And then doing it in an encouraging way and getting better at it myself from the spring when I can't say it was always encouraging till now where I progressively got more encouraging with that situation of helping him out distance learning. So that's a blessing. You can count your blessings when you're looking at these situations now. That's something you can do. So back in the spring when COVID hit and real estate got a little bit slow, what was going to go on? Could we sell houses? And then we could go sell houses. What restrictions? We had restrictions maybe of, obviously wearing masks and sanitizing, and maybe some people didn't want to go in the houses. And then in May, June, July, August, the market blew up and we had a much bigger than predicted year in real estate. But going into that, it seemed like, gosh, we might not sell many houses and this could be negative. And I understand a lot of people are having negative years financially or health-wise and so on. But I thought about what I could do at that time to, make a shift, to keep my mindset right, to maybe help and encourage people. And at that time, middle of April, I started to write my son's actually calling me now on FaceTime. I started to write a devotional in I guess most people know what a devotional is, but if you're not, it would be like a spiritual or some sort of reading you do maybe in the morning or evening to uplift your spirits, to give you hope and encouragement. And I started writing my own. I thought I might do it for a month or two. And once I got into it, I'm like, I'm going to write 366 devotionals, basically a year-long devotional that maybe someday I could publish it as a book or just, put people on an email list, whatever it is. So every day since May 1st, I posted these to my blogs. And again, most of the messages are about hope and encouragement as a way to break our addiction to what the world has us do. Like, for the most part, the world distracts us, pulls us into a bunch of crap and garbage. Like, anytime you're interacting negatively online because of the election of any way, Democrat, Republican, that's a worldly distraction. Anytime you're super mad about something, could be something simple, could be something, that you feel like you should be mad about, but that is a worldly pull to get you out of focus on what's important. And what's important is, for most people, what they have core values that are important. So what's most important for some people is going to be different, but for the center of the core, for somebody who's studied, understood, progressed in a spiritual sense, is God, or whatever you call God. Some people call God differently. And some people get that confused, like, God's not the center of my core, or why is there all this pain in the world? No, God, as far as the wholeness of what's going on in the all around us, God is omnipresent and everywhere. And sometimes we forget about that. We just focus on what's not going well, or what we're upset about, or what stresses us, or what fears and doubts and worries we have, when we want to turn that around to what we're blessed to be a blessing. So what can I look for that's good in this day, in this moment? So in the future, when I do these, maybe they'll be quicker, maybe they'll be more to the point. When I'm doing this first episode, give you a little background on it. So at that time I started writing, real estate was pretty slow for us. We hadn't had a great April. And instead of let's call more people to get better, get more sales, let's knock on more doors, let's send more of this, let's do more of that. Real estate wise, I thought, well, what am I supposed to do? It was like a prayer, a thought, meditation. And I started writing that daily devotional. And basically, as soon as I did that and got them posted out, it turned around and things went well. Why did it turn around? The mindset, the uplifted, abundant, prosperous mindset started to, basically upgrade in me. When you do that, better things attract to you and life becomes a little bit easier. But like I said, the world's always trying to distract us. So even along that whole last few months, there's so many distractions and pulls. Sometimes, obviously, even I would have meltdowns, slip-ups, and, the things, I find myself being irritated at things that I shouldn't be, really, when it comes down to it. So we all do that, and that's fine. That means if that's where you're at, that's where you're at, and these are things you can get better at. So I was giving you a little bit of my journey and why I'm even doing this, because everybody's got hope and encouragement in them that they can encourage themselves or somebody else can encourage them. So, for example, for my November 18th daily devotional that I was explaining that I wrote, and now that means if I started in May, June, July, August, September, October, November, we're already over 6 months into this. We're at probably post number 203 or so. So on November 18th, I wrote in my daily devotional post, which you can find. Sometimes I posted it on my Twitter, my Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can click and find the history of them. Rejoice in the grace of the new day. Every day is a new day. Let's say this day is totally sucked, or yesterday totally sucked, or whatever the deal's going on in the world. Every day is a new day, and rejoice in the grace of the new day. Look for the good in it. Psalm 118:24. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Somebody who's been to church, religious, spiritual, has probably heard that one before. So what I wrote here is when you receive each day as a new day, to look at the blessings that are on the way, to give thanks and praise for God's favor, and to receive the grace of God, you'll continue to feel better and better. The events, challenges, circumstances of the past are also in the past. They're in the past. I'm emphasizing that. If you have not forgiven something that is resurfacing and causing some sort of anxiety or fear, it's certainly time to do that now, meaning forgive yourself, somebody else, whatever the situation is. Sometimes it takes forgiving something more than once before it goes away. It just, some things seem to happen. You got to do it more often than just once. Often the combining of forgiving along with looking at each day as a new day and doing it in a way that you will bless and expect favor and goodness is what will finally give you the upgrade in your experience with God to overcome what still might be holding you back. So you got to forgive it. Say, hey, this is a new day. And then look forward, like, you know what? Good things are going to happen today. Something good's going to happen. Something's going to turn around. And you can name what that situation would be for you. God wants the best for you. Your best is to come. Wherever you're at now, things are still, there's like a pent up supply of goodness for you. This is not, I'm doing my little excerpts, but your best is yet to come. What has held you back from you or taken you, what's been held back from you or taken from you can be restored in God's glorious way. Like God has pent up goodness for you. You are blessed to be a blessing, and whatever hasn't happened to you is all pent up. It's there for you. Whatever, maybe you needed to get a certain lesson. Maybe the timing isn't now, but it's very soon. So don't let the past limit your new day. Don't let the past stop you from renewing your life with the never-ending, everlasting word and promises of God. Maybe you're not some spiritual person. You're wondering like, oh, I didn't come from some spiritual treatment. I would go to church for that. Well, right now, a lot of people don't go to church. And are they're hearing their pastor, and my pastors give great messages. And I love to hear them. I love to listen to other ministers. And whether it's been on my spiritual journey, my personal development journey, I've liked to listen to a lot of different people, see what they say. And then there's certain people I focus on more so I can really strengthen whatever I need, skills-wise, spiritual-wise, personal development-wise. So, and then at the end of my devotionals, I put a little prayer. Lord, thank you that you know my heart, my challenges, my fears. Each day you are there for me to be renewed so that I can live life in all of its fullness. So, can you say right now, and I can't say this 100%, are you living life in its fullness? But each day we need a reminder, like, yes, we can live life in its fullness. And that's different for everybody. It's not something I can necessarily say, here's how your step 1, 2, 3, live life in its fullness. But you can receive grace each day. You can let go of the past. You can forgive the past. And you can look for the blessings in each day. So, for example, COVID was a blessing. It got me to actually sit down, put time into doing these devotionals that I can share, or nothing else, they help me when I read them and remind me. And sometimes I screw up like the day before I read them, like, oh gosh, I should have read this a day ago because that would have helped me not do that dumb thing I did. So don't beat yourself up if you do have your stumbles, your challenges, your falls that are self-inflicted. Look at each day as a new day. Look at the blessings that are to come, like expect them, believe in them, ask for them, and then go about your day doing the best you can, being encouraging, at least to somebody else. So hopefully if you're watching this or listening to the recording, you can obviously listen to all of this. I gave you a little background early on. And if you missed it, like, okay, I don't have time to watch the video, I'm going to put the banner up one more time. You can go to the podcast, the Real Life Impact Podcast. You can listen to the recording. This will be up in, let's say, an hour. And it's obviously it's intertwined with our other real estate broadcasts that we've been doing over the last few months. And then my previous video series and podcast series I did last year. That's all on there, but it'll be hopefully labeled enough where you can find it. And I'm going to pop on every so often. Might be here. It's going to be not set. I'm just a not set guy. I'm in real estate, and I got a little kid that, we got to learn and play. And got big kids that do kind of take care of themselves and they keep out of trouble. But you never know. I'm on my toes, like many of you probably are, whether it's business, work, kids, family, whatever it is, we're basically on our toes all the time. So I'm not necessarily going to have a set time for this, but looking to do a few of these hope and encouragement messages, especially as we end the year going into 2020. So hopefully you get something good from this. Scroll back about 5 minutes, listen to the devotional. You can go down my Facebook personal page, Chuck Karstensen, find my devotional postings. You can click on there and you can find the one that I post, or get on my blog and find the today's or yesterday's post. So again, thanks for watching. Have a blessed rest of your day, and we'll be talking to you again soon, one way or the other.